Kia ora and welcome. My name is Ellen Rose and this is the Creative Cure to Boredom. I've created this channel to share and explore some inventive approaches to art using everyday materials you can find in your own home. The hope is that it makes the current lockdown and isolation situation just a little bit more bearable. Today we're going to have a look at turning glucose into glass. So we're going to be heating up some sugar with some water in a pot, and then we're going to be moulding it into a sculpture. I hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to leave any comments or suggestions below. Cheers! So I'm adding 2 cups of sugar to 3/4 of a cup of water. And I'm stirring that with a spoon until it completely dissolves. This will be the last time that I basically touch or stir this, because after it's dissolved and it starts boiling, we don't want to touch it with a spoon at all. That could create sugar crystals, which will compromise the strength of the final sculpture. So once I'm happy with it looking dissolved, I put on some gloves and I make sure that it's on low heat. You can do a higher heat with this, but I just don't like the thought of molten sugar bubbling everywhere. So the gloves I'm using are just a pair of gardening gloves. It's just something very basic to protect my hands just in case I need them. And if I want to get any of the extra sugar off of the sides of the saucepan, I'm just using a paintbrush that has a little bit of water on it. I'm putting 2 drops of blue ink or blue food dye into 1 cup, and I'm doing a whole lot in another cup. And this will create a light blue and a dark blue colour once the sugar's ready. I've wrapped a little bowl in greaseproof paper, and I've put a sheet of greaseproof paper on top of a tea towel, which is on top of a baking tray. And that's what we're going to be creating the sugar forms around. So this is really just the waiting game now. So I'm waiting for this sugar to boil, and I want it to slightly change colour. And when it does change colour, it'll change to a slight yellowy colour, and it will smell a little bit like caramelization in the air. So this probably took me about 15 to 20 minutes for this to get to the state that I wanted it. This will probably be different on any other stove or with any other saucepan. So if you're making this at home, just keep your eye on it, be patient, and wait until you see that slight yellowness. So I'm pouring a little bit of the molten sugar into both of the cups, and pouring most of the rest onto a tray. So once I add these to the tray, I'm just mixing them up a little bit. I'm trying to get a bit of a water-like feeling with these. Now with a little bowl, I'm just going to drip some on top in a bit of a random fashion because I want some little gaps in it. So I take a glass and I'm going to wrap that in some greaseproof paper as well. And I'm going to use that as sort of the basis for a vase. And I'm going to wrap that flat piece all the way around it. I'm waiting to wrap until the sugar is only just starting to come apart from the greaseproof paper. It's still a little bit malleable, and so I've been able to stick both ends together where they met around the glass, and I'm just pulling out the top to get a bit of some random, more organic forms happening. While I wait for that to harden, I'm just going to take the sugar bowl off of the actual bowl and see how it turned out. This is the end result. So I have 2 forms. I have one that's a bit of a vase-like form and one that's a little bowl. Now, they have come out looking a lot like glass, which was the end goal. So if we have a quick look at the little one, so you can see all of those holes were left by me when I dripped the molten sugar over the top. And that's creating some really beautiful shadows on the table. Now this is completely edible, so you could use this as a edible bowl for dessert making or something like that if you'd like to. You might want to make the bowl solid. You might want to try a more delicate form with that and really try to get some loops happening, almost like lace work. That would look really cool. As you can see, it's just a simple little bowl. Now this one's the one that I'm really happy with. So as you can see, I've taken out the glass from the inside, so it is hollow in the middle. And this side here is where the two ends of the molten sugar join together. So it's joined together really well. The colours have come out really nicely. My aim was to have it looking like a big wave or water splashing up. And I think that light blue and dark blue really does achieve that. And this real rough sort of edge on the top adds to that real organic sort of wave-like feel. I have had some breakages in that top corner there. However, it doesn't faze me in the slightest, to be honest with you. I think it just adds to it looking more organic. So do be careful with this process because obviously the molten sugar is really hot, so I do suggest wearing gloves. As you could see in the video, I was using the tea towel too to sort of add an extra layer of protection on my hands. So this was a really fun process. I would recommend for anyone to give it a go. Just be careful in the process of doing it. And when you're waiting for that molten sugar to start turning, it does happen relatively quickly. So just look for it to start to peel away from that waxproof paper, and then you'll really be able to start working with it then and mold it into something pretty awesome. I'd love to hear what you've done with this process, so please do leave comments or suggestions below. I'd love to hear them. For now, my name is Ellen Rose. This has been the Creative Cure to Boredom. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Till next time, ngā mihi nui.